I think he'll change. He is committed of his own level of service, and
privileged to bear during so much of my life and duty.
Queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen.
State banquets are supposed to showcase unity, stability, and royal tradition. Yet one alleged decision inside Buckingham Palace has triggered a question that royal watchers cannot seem to ignore. If Queen Camilla believed her position within the monarchy was finally secure, why do some observers believe Princess and quietly reminded everyone where the true boundaries of royal power still exist? Section 1. The moment that changed the conversation. For many years, Queen Camilla appeared to be living through one of the most remarkable transformations in modern royal history. Once criticized relentlessly by sections of the public and viewed by some royal traditionalists as an outsider who would never fully belong within the institution, Queen Camilla gradually became an accepted and established figure at the center of the monarchy. By the time King Charles III ascended the throne, it seemed that one of the longest and most difficult chapters in royal history had finally reached its conclusion. From the outside, the story looked complete. Queen Camilla attended major state occasions, represented the crown on important engagements, welcomed world leaders, and stood beside King Charles III during some of the most significant moments of the modern monarchy. Many royal commentators believe the resistance that had once followed Queen Camilla everywhere had largely disappeared. The battles appeared to have been fought, and Queen Camilla appeared to have won them. But what if that assumption was never entirely accurate? What if acceptance and authority are not actually the same thing? And what if one senior royal quietly decided it was time to remind everyone of that distinction? That is where Princess enters the story. Among all members of the royal family, Princess occupies a unique position. Unlike figures who attract constant headlines, Princess has spent decades building a reputation based not on publicity but on duty. Royal watchers frequently describe Princess as one of the hardest working members of the monarchy, a royal whose loyalty has always been directed toward the institution itself rather than personal popularity. Because of that reputation, whenever Princess becomes connected to a controversy, people immediately pay attention. And according to reports that have circulated among royal commentators, preparations for a major state banquet may have become the setting for a disagreement that exposed far more than anyone expected. Now, before we go further, it is important to remember that many details remain the subject of speculation and commentary rather than confirmed palace statements. Nevertheless, the discussion surrounding the alleged incident has generated enormous interest because of what it may reveal about the inner workings of the monarchy. The controversy reportedly centered on guest arrangements connected to one of Buckingham Palace's most prestigious diplomatic events. To ordinary observers, a seating chart might seem like a minor administrative detail. However, within royal circles, placement can carry enormous symbolic significance. Who sits near the monarch? Who gains access to influential conversations? Who is positioned within the most visible sections of the room? Inside the world of royal diplomacy, these decisions are rarely accidental. And that is precisely why the reports attracted so much attention. According to royal commentators, concerns allegedly emerged regarding the presence and positioning of individuals connected to Queen Camilla's family. On the surface, such an issue may sound insignificant. After all, family members attending important occasions is hardly unusual. Yet critics argue that a deeper question was involved. Should personal family connections ever benefit from the prestige and influence attached to the crown? Or does allowing such arrangements risk blurring the line between public duty and private interest? Those questions have followed monarchies for centuries. And according to some observers, Princess may have viewed the situation through exactly that lens. What makes this story particularly fascinating is that Princess has never been known for dramatic confrontations. Princess rarely engages in public disputes. Princess rarely participates in media battles. Princess rarely responds to controversy through emotional displays. Instead, Princess has built a reputation for something very different. Quiet action, measured action, institutional action. That is why reports suggesting Princess intervened during banquet preparations immediately sparked curiosity among royal audiences across Britain, the United States, Canada, and beyond. Because if Princess and truly believed a line was being crossed, many royal watchers suspect Princess and would not need a public argument to make a point. A procedural decision could accomplish the same objective, and perhaps with far greater impact. What makes the situation even more intriguing is the timing. The monarchy is currently navigating a period of transition unlike any it has experienced in decades. King Charles III remains the reigning monarch, yet increasing attention is already focused on Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales. The future of the institution is no longer a distant concept. The future is approaching. As a result, every discussion about influence, hierarchy, succession, and royal boundaries carries additional weight. Could the alleged Banquet dispute have been about far more than a single event? Could Princess and have been sending a message about the future direction of the monarchy? Or was Princess and simply enforcing rules that have existed for generations? Those questions would soon become impossible to ignore. And as royal commentators examined what allegedly happened next, many began focusing on an even more surprising issue. Not Queen Camilla's position within the monarchy, but the invisible limits that may still surround that position despite everything Queen Camilla has achieved. Before we uncover why those limits matter so much, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the next part of the story takes us inside a world where influence, loyalty, and royal protocol collide in ways the public rarely gets to see. And once those hidden boundaries became visible, the conversation surrounding Princess and Queen Camilla changed dramatically. The deeper royal commentators examined the alleged Banquet controversy, the more the discussion began shifting away from a single seating arrangement and toward a much larger question about the structure of royal influence itself. After all, if Princess was truly willing to intervene over what some observers viewed as a relatively minor adjustment, then perhaps the issue was never about one dinner table at Buckingham Palace. Perhaps the issue was about protecting a principle that has governed the monarchy for generations, even when that principle creates uncomfortable consequences for some of the people closest to the crown. To understand why this matters, it is necessary to look beyond the glittering images that the public sees. When Queen Camilla appears beside King Charles III at state banquets, diplomatic receptions, and major national ceremonies, the image projected to the world is one of stability, authority, and permanence. Yet constitutional reality tells a more complicated story. Unlike a monarch who inherits the crown through bloodline succession, Queen Camilla's position exists through marriage to King Charles III. That distinction may seem technical, but within royal circles, technical distinctions often become the most important distinctions of all. This is where many royal watchers believe the underlying tension begins. Because while Queen Camilla has unquestionably secured an important place within the monarchy, Queen Camilla's children occupy a very different position. Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez have never held royal titles, never entered the line of succession, and never carried official royal responsibilities. From a constitutional perspective, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez remain private citizens whose connection to the institution exists through family rather than royal status. And that reality raises an intriguing question. Could the monarchy ever allow personal family connections to evolve into something resembling official influence? Or would senior royals immediately draw a line before that process could begin? Many commentators believe Princess already knows the answer. Throughout decades of public service, Princess has developed a reputation unlike almost any other member of the royal family. While King Charles III has often been associated with modernization, while Prince William has increasingly become associated with the future of the monarchy, and while Catherine, Princess of Wales, has become one of the institution's most popular figures, Princess has earned respect through consistency. The rules that mattered 30 years ago still matter to Princess today. That unwavering approach may explain why reports surrounding the banquet attracted so much attention. Because if Princess believed protocol was being stretched, even slightly, Princess may have viewed the issue not as an isolated incident, but as a precedent. And royal institutions tend to fear precedents more than controversies. Think about that for a moment. If one exception is permitted today, what prevents another exception tomorrow? If one family connection receives special consideration now, where does the monarchy draw the line later? Those questions have challenged royal households for centuries, and according to some observers, Princess, and may have concluded that allowing ambiguity was more dangerous than creating temporary discomfort. What makes this situation even more fascinating is the broader context surrounding King Charles III's reign. Unlike previous eras, the monarchy is already operating under the shadow of an approaching transition. Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are no longer viewed simply as senior royals. Increasingly, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are viewed as the future center of the institution itself. That shift changes how many insiders evaluate decisions. Actions are no longer judged solely according to today's priorities. Actions are increasingly measured against tomorrow's monarchy. And that is where another important question emerges. Could Princess Anne's reported position actually reflect a philosophy that Prince William already shares? Many royal commentators have suggested that Prince William favors a streamlined monarchy focused primarily on those directly connected to constitutional responsibilities. Under such a vision, the institution would revolve around Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, while maintaining a smaller and more focused structure overall. If that assessment is accurate, then the alleged Banquet controversy may reveal something far more significant than a disagreement about protocol. The incident may offer a glimpse into how future royal leadership intends to define influence. And that possibility has generated enormous discussion among royal audiences. After all, if Princess Anne and Prince William view institutional discipline as essential to the monarchy's survival, then every decision involving status, visibility, and access suddenly carries additional meaning. Was Princess Anne simply protecting tradition? Was Princess Anne protecting Prince William's future monarchy? Or was Princess Anne sending a message that certain boundaries remain non-negotiable regardless of who occupies the throne? As those questions circulated among commentators, attention began shifting toward another figure at the center of the story. Because while observers debated Princess Anne's motivations, many began wondering what this situation may have meant for Queen Camilla personally. After decades spent overcoming resistance, criticism, and skepticism, could Queen Camilla have discovered that acceptance within the monarchy does not necessarily guarantee unlimited influence within the monarchy? And if that realization truly occurred, what might it reveal about the hidden limits that still exist behind palace walls? Before we uncover that crucial piece of a story, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the next chapter explores a side of royal life that the public rarely sees: the delicate balance between personal loyalty, family ambition, and institutional survival. And as royal watchers soon discovered, the answers surrounding Queen Camilla's position may have been far more revealing than the Banquet controversy itself. As the debate surrounding Princess Anne and Queen Camilla continued to spread among royal observers, attention gradually moved away from the reported Banquet incident itself and towards something potentially even more revealing. The real story, many commentators argued, was not about where someone sat during a state event. The real story was about what the controversy appeared to expose regarding the limits of influence inside one of the world's oldest institutions. Because while public attention often focuses on titles, jewels, ceremonies, and grand appearances, royal history repeatedly demonstrates that true power within the monarchy is often defined by invisible boundaries rather than visible privileges. That distinction becomes particularly important when discussing Queen Camilla's unique position within the royal family. After decades of scrutiny and public debate, Queen Camilla ultimately achieved what many once considered impossible. Queen Camilla became queen alongside King Charles III and secured a place at the center of royal life. Yet even that extraordinary achievement did not alter one fundamental reality that has existed since the beginning of constitutional monarchy. The crown belongs to the institution, not to individuals, and certainly not to individual family branches. This is precisely why so many royal watchers became fascinated by the alleged Banquet controversy. Because if reports are accurate, the situation may have served as a reminder that no matter how respected or established a royal figure becomes, the institution itself remains larger than any one person. And that leads to an important question for viewers. Do you believe modern monarchies should become more flexible and family-oriented, or do you believe strict boundaries are necessary to protect the institution's credibility? The answer may determine how people interpret everything that followed. For Queen Camilla, the challenge is particularly complex because Queen Camilla occupies a position unlike almost anyone else in modern royal history. Queen Camilla stands beside King Charles III at the highest level of royal life, yet Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez remain outside the official constitutional structure. That reality creates a fascinating contrast between personal proximity and institutional distance. To ordinary families, such distinctions may seem unnecessary. To monarchies, such distinctions are often considered essential. Royal commentators frequently point out that throughout history, monarchies have struggled whenever personal interests became difficult to separate from institutional responsibilities. Every generation has faced some version of the same challenge. How does a royal household balance family loyalty with constitutional duty? And perhaps more importantly, who decides where that balance should exist? Many observers believe Princess and has answered that question throughout an entire lifetime of service. Unlike some members of the royal family who have embraced modernization as a central goal, Princess and has consistently emphasized continuity, responsibility, and discipline. Princess Anne's reputation was not built through speeches about reform. Princess Anne's reputation was built through decades of quietly following the rules, regardless of whether those rules were convenient. That reputation explains why reports surrounding Princess Anne's alleged intervention resonated so strongly with audiences. Because many people immediately believed the story sounded consistent with Princess Anne's long-established approach. Yet another layer of intrigue emerged when analysts began considering the future reign of Prince William. The future king occupies an increasingly important position within conversations about the monarchy's long-term direction. While King Charles III continues to lead the institution today, many palace observers believe preparations for the next era are already underway. Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are widely viewed as the foundation upon which the next generation of royal leadership will be built. That reality introduces an entirely new dimension to the discussion. If Prince William eventually inherits a streamlined monarchy focused on constitutional necessity, what happens to figures whose connection to royal life exists primarily through marriage rather than succession? What happens to extended family members who enjoy proximity to royal life but possess no formal royal role? And perhaps most intriguingly, have senior royals already begun preparing for that future behind the scenes? Those questions remain unanswered, but they continue fueling speculation among royal commentators. The reason is simple. The monarchy rarely announces future priorities directly. Instead, priorities often reveal themselves through decisions, traditions, invitations, appearances, and subtle signals that only become obvious when viewed collectively. That is why so many analysts view the alleged Banquet dispute as symbolically important, not because of one chair, not because of one evening, but because of what the incident may have communicated about institutional thinking. And if that interpretation is correct, another fascinating question immediately emerges. Could Queen Camilla herself already understand these limitations better than anyone else? After all, Queen Camilla has spent decades navigating the realities of royal life. Queen Camilla understands better than most how slowly the institution changes and how carefully every adjustment is measured. Some commentators even argue that Queen Camilla's long journey toward acceptance may have given Queen Camilla a deeper appreciation for royal boundaries than critics sometimes acknowledge. If that assessment is true, then the alleged controversy may not simply be a story about disagreement. It may be a story about competing responsibilities. Princess and protecting institutional tradition, Queen Camilla protecting family interests, King Charles III balancing personal loyalty with constitutional duty, and Prince William representing the future toward which the entire monarchy is gradually moving. When viewed through that lens, the story becomes far more complex than many headlines suggest. But there is one final piece of this puzzle that royal watchers continue discussing. Because if Princess Anne's actions reflected a larger effort to preserve royal boundaries, then what role does Catherine, Princess of Wales, play in that future vision of the monarchy? And why do some royal commentators believe the growing influence of Catherine, Princess of Wales, may be quietly reshaping royal priorities long before Prince William officially becomes king? Before we explore that crucial chapter, Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the next part of the story takes us directly into the future of the monarchy itself, where the rise of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, may reveal why this entire controversy matters far more than anyone initially realized. And once that future comes into focus, the alleged message behind Princess Anne's actions begins to look very different indeed. As the alleged Banquet controversy continued generating discussion across royal circles, another question gradually moved to the center of the conversation, and many royal commentators believe this question may be far more important than the original dispute itself. If Princess Anne's reported actions were truly intended to reinforce institutional boundaries, then what does that reveal about the monarchy that Prince William, the future king, is expected to inherit? More importantly, what role will Catherine, Princess of Wales, play in shaping that future? Because when royal observers examine the direction of the modern monarchy, the names that appear most frequently are no longer King Charles III and Queen Camilla alone. Increasingly, attention is shifting toward Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, whose influence appears to be growing with every passing year. That shift is not simply about popularity, although Catherine, Princess of Wales, remains one of the most admired members of the royal family. The shift is also about inevitability. Unlike many figures whose positions depend upon circumstance, Prince William's future role is already defined. Prince William is the heir to the throne. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is the future queen. Every major decision involving the long-term survival of the monarchy is therefore viewed through the lens of what comes next. And that reality may explain why so many royal analysts became interested in the alleged Banquet incident. Because when an institution begins preparing for the future, every symbol becomes meaningful. Every invitation carries significance. Every seating arrangement attracts scrutiny. Every public appearance contributes to a larger narrative. Could the reported actions attributed to Princess Anne have reflected preparations for that future reality? Many royal commentators believe that possibility cannot be dismissed. Throughout recent years, Prince William has frequently been associated with the idea of a streamlined monarchy, a structure designed to focus public attention on a smaller group of senior royals carrying clear constitutional responsibilities. Under that vision, Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis would form the central framework of the institution's next chapter. If that approach ultimately becomes reality, the implications could be substantial. Because a streamlined monarchy naturally requires difficult decisions about who occupies the center of royal life and who remains outside it. And that leads to a fascinating question for viewers. Do you think a smaller monarchy strengthens the institution, or does a smaller monarchy risk losing valuable family connections that have traditionally supported the crown? Royal audiences remain deeply divided on that issue. Yet one figure continues appearing at the center of these discussions, and that figure is Catherine, Princess of Wales. Unlike Queen Camilla's journey, which involved overcoming decades of public controversy and resistance, Catherine, Princess of Wales, followed a very different path into royal life. From the earliest stages of public engagement, Kate Middleton was increasingly viewed as someone capable of providing stability, continuity, and broad public appeal. Over time, Catherine, Princess of Wales, transformed from a royal newcomer into a future queen whose influence now extends across nearly every aspect of the institution's public image. That evolution matters because it highlights an important contrast. Royal influence can emerge through formal authority. Royal influence can emerge through public trust. And sometimes public trust becomes the more powerful force. Many commentators argue that Catherine, Princess of Wales, has reached precisely that position. As a result, when discussions emerge regarding the monarchy's future priorities, observers frequently look toward Catherine, Princess of Wales, for clues about what the next era may resemble. What is particularly interesting is that Catherine, Princess of Wales, has never appeared eager to place extended family members into prominent royal positions. Unlike some historical royal households, where relatives gradually accumulated visibility and influence, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has generally maintained a clear distinction between private family life and official royal responsibilities. To supporters, that approach demonstrates discipline. To critics, that approach reflects caution. Either way, the pattern has attracted attention. And some royal watchers believe Princess, and may recognize similarities between that philosophy and Princess Anne's own long-standing commitment to institutional boundaries. Whether those similarities represent deliberate coordination or simply shared values remains impossible to know. Nevertheless, the perception itself has become increasingly influential, because perceptions often shape royal narratives long before facts emerge. At the same time, King Charles III faces a particularly delicate challenge. King Charles III must simultaneously protect family relationships while preserving the institution's credibility. History has repeatedly shown that monarchs often struggle when personal loyalties collide with constitutional responsibilities. That balancing act becomes even more complicated when public scrutiny intensifies. Every gesture is analyzed, every decision is debated, every perceived signal generates headlines. And according to many observers, the alleged Banquet controversy became so compelling precisely because it appeared to touch all of these issues simultaneously. Princess Anne represented institutional discipline. Queen Camilla represented personal family interests. King Charles III represented the challenge of balancing both. And Prince William represented the future waiting just beyond the horizon. When viewed through that framework, the controversy begins to resemble something much larger than a disagreement about protocol. It begins to resemble a debate about what kind of monarchy will exist 20 years from now. And perhaps that is why the story refuses to disappear. Because beneath the surface lies a question that millions of royal followers continue asking. Who truly shapes the future of the monarchy? The individuals who currently hold power, or the individuals preparing to inherit it? Before we answer that question, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because the next chapter takes us even deeper inside the hidden power structure of the royal family, where royal titles, public popularity, constitutional rules, and personal loyalties collide in ways that few outsiders ever get to witness. And once those competing forces come into focus, the alleged message behind Princess Anne's actions may become clearer than ever before. As the discussion surrounding Princess Anne and Queen Camilla continued to evolve, many royal commentators arrived at a conclusion that may be the most important takeaway from the entire controversy. The alleged Banquet dispute was never really about a seating chart, a guest list, or even a single evening inside Buckingham Palace. Instead, the controversy appeared to shine a light on something that has always existed beneath the surface of royal life: the constant tension between personal relationships and institutional responsibility. And once that larger picture comes into focus, the actions attributed to Princess Anne begin to look far less like an isolated intervention and far more like a reflection of how the monarchy protects itself during periods of transition. What makes this story particularly compelling is that every major figure involved appears to represent a different aspect of the modern monarchy. King Charles III represents continuity during a period of significant change. Queen Camilla represents one of the most extraordinary journeys from public controversy to royal acceptance. Princess Anne represents unwavering commitment to duty and protocol. Prince William, the future king, represents the next chapter waiting on the horizon. Catherine, Princess of Wales, represents stability, public trust, and the future image of the crown. When viewed individually, each figure tells a separate story. When viewed together, those stories reveal something much larger. The monarchy is not simply a family. The monarchy is an institution constantly preparing for its own future. And that preparation often requires difficult decisions that may appear harsh from the outside. But here is the question that continues dividing royal audiences. Should institutions always come before family? Or should family considerations sometimes outweigh centuries-old traditions? That question sits at the heart of countless royal debates, and many viewers may have very different answers. Some commentators argue that Princess Anne's reported actions, if the reports are accurate, demonstrate exactly why Princess Anne remains one of the most respected members of the royal family. Supporters believe Princess Anne understands that public confidence depends upon maintaining clear boundaries between royal duty and personal interests. From that perspective, protecting the institution is not optional. Protecting the institution is the responsibility that comes with royal service. Yet others view the situation differently. Some observers argue that modern monarchies must continue evolving if they hope to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Those commentators believe that strict adherence to tradition can sometimes create unnecessary divisions and prevent the institution from appearing more relatable to contemporary audiences. Both perspectives have passionate supporters, and perhaps that is why this story has generated so much discussion. Because the controversy touches on issues that extend far beyond one royal family. The debate is ultimately about leadership. The debate is about legacy. The debate is about how institutions balance tradition with adaptation. And nowhere is that balance more important than in the British monarchy. As attention increasingly shifts toward Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, those questions become even more significant. Royal watchers understand that every reign leaves its own mark on history. The monarchy that King Charles III inherited differs from the monarchy Queen Elizabeth II inherited decades earlier. Likewise, the monarchy Prince William eventually inherits may look very different from the institution that exists today. That reality makes stories like this impossible to ignore, because even the smallest controversies sometimes reveal larger truths about where an institution believes it is heading. Could the alleged Banquet incident have been one of those moments? Could Princess and have been reinforcing principles that Prince William intends to carry into the future? Or could royal commentators be reading far too much into an event that was ultimately driven by protocol rather than personal conflict? The truth may never be fully known, and perhaps that uncertainty is exactly why the story continues attracting attention. Royal history is filled with moments where the public only saw part of the picture. Decisions that appeared minor at the time later proved surprisingly significant. Meanwhile, events that dominated headlines occasionally faded into irrelevance. Determining which moments truly matter is often impossible until years later. That brings us back to the central question that has followed the story from the very beginning. Was Princess and protecting the monarchy? Was Princess and delivering a quiet message? Or was Princess and simply doing what Princess and has always done throughout decades of royal service, placing institutional duty above every other consideration? What do you think? Do you believe Princess and was right to defend traditional royal boundaries? Or do you believe Queen Camilla deserved greater flexibility regarding family connections? Do you see this as a simple matter of protocol, or do you believe the controversy reveals something deeper about the future relationship between King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Catherine, Princess of Wales? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one royal debate that continues dividing audiences around the world. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden dynamics of the royal family, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for more fascinating stories exploring Buckingham Palace, Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the future of the monarchy itself. Because sometimes the most revealing royal stories are not the ones spoken publicly. They are the ones hidden behind palace doors, where influence, tradition, and history quietly shape the future of the crown.